Ethiopia, located in the Horn of Africa. Just over 30 years ago, this country experienced a famine described as one of the biggest disasters of modern times. Back then, in 1984, people were dying every day. Ethiopia was known as the Land of Death. There appeared little hope for its people and this part of Africa. Although the country has experienced significant economic revival since, it remains blighted by another drought, ongoing border conflicts, and claims of political oppression. A landslide in March 2017 claimed the lives of scores of people, including children. They were killed at a vast rubbish dump on the outskirts of Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa. Dozens of people went missing, and a number of makeshift houses became buried under tons of waste. Millions still rely on food aid, and allegations of human rights abuses continue. Ethiopia still has a long way to travel regarding prosperity and peace. But thanks to the efforts of a Northern Irish-based church, the Metropolitan Tabernacle in Belfast, progress continues in this part of Africa. Slowly but surely, this famine-stricken nation is rising from the ashes, a transformation many believe only God could have performed. In just 14 years, this empty field, which is where the missionary project first moved into action, has been turned into a thriving ministry, which has expanded to other regions of the country such as Bobagaya and Ambo. The project in the village of Kariftu feeds and provides a school for up to 700 pupils every single day. There's a medical centre here, a church with hundreds of members, and a Bible college. Meanwhile, in addition to the church at Bobagaya, a new school is also operating. While a third church plant in the city of Ambo has grown from around 400 people in 2016 to 1,200 just a year later. Speaking back in 2012, the founder of the project, the late Jim McClelland, believed only the power of God could transform such a wounded nation.
I had sought God in my life, and these people needed God in their life, because God and Jesus Christ will give them hope that when they're hungry, and when they're poorly off, and when they're waking up each morning, or indeed when they go to bed at night, that if they have Jesus in their heart, that is the true answer to life. And the real answer to Ethiopia is Jesus and the Spirit of God in the life of the children.
That vision and faith in God's power to revolutionize an entire country is already occurring as thousands of children and people have been blessed. and supported by this rapidly expanding work. The most recent visit by the Tabernacle team happened on 9th of February 2017. No fewer than 21 members of the Hope for Ethiopia team travelled to present the children of schools in both Cariftu and Bobagaya with Christmas gifts. Three of the Tabernacle pastors present for the presentation were the founder of the Metropolitan Tabernacle, Pastor James McConnell, Pastor Frankie Weir, and the pastor responsible in Northern Ireland for overseeing the Ethiopian project, Pastor Michael Bunting.
It's a wonderful day, a really breathtaking day. I was amazed. We've been at the few presentations before, but I think this was the best.
In total, over 1,500 children received gifts, as well as 200 children in the Bible clubs. On the 11th of February 2017, the team and pastors also officiated at a graduation ceremony for the students, something that would have been unthinkable in Ethiopia just a few years ago. No fewer than 23 graduates received their theological diplomas, with many already serving in the ministry in Ethiopia. The young graduates are already financially supported by the church at Cariftu and trained at the compound on a 2-year vocational training course in engineering. Eleanor McClelland, wife of Jim McClelland for almost 52 years, is not only still involved with her late husband's ministry, she handles much of the administration and fundraising in Belfast, something she says is an ongoing struggle due to the rapid growth of the Hope for Ethiopia mission.
We have a pastor there who gets a wage, and it's rightly so. He's doing a great work there, and we have a lot of children. The ground there's room for a school, a clinic, and the church at the minute is a temporary building. On a Wednesday night that get over 700, On a Sunday night, there's over 1,000 people sitting outside. So they're wanting to get that building finished, all the buildings finished. But again, we need sponsors to sponsor those children and give them a chance for an education.
During the week, Eleanor works from the office at the Tabernacle in Belfast, ably supported by her daughter Karen.
The people from our church here in Whitewell has been fantastic. I mean, the support all year round, not just for the Christmas gifts, but all year round, not just financially, but prayerfully as well, you know, and we have good people outside as well, you know, good friends, and everybody's just great.
While fundraising for the ministry is crucial, after substantial financial investment in the project in the early years, Jim McClelland recognised the importance of changing not only the material part of the community, but also the hearts of the people who live there. This vision of God's blessing and power has spectacularly come to pass with the planting of not just one, but 3 churches in Ethiopia, all of which are experiencing considerable increase.
What began as a tiny acorn has really become a great oak tree, and the branches are definitely spreading over the wall there in Ethiopia. And we're encouraged to hear that there's now a church plant the other side of Addis Ababa at a place called Ambo, which is creeping up fast on the main place at Kariftu. So that's a really, really encouraging thing.
We have a church in Babagaya, which is not very far from Kariftu. That's a little church for many of the children and a few classrooms. And also there's a church in Ambo, that's a 3-hour drive away from Kariftu. And that is a phenomenal church, so it is. The Wednesday night Bible study would be about 500 plus people, and on the Sunday I believe it's over 1,000 people. And they've bought land, 4 acres of land. They're going to build a church there. So God's really blessing.
Regardless of the vast famine in 1984 and the great difficulties this country has experienced, it's clear the Spirit of God is moving and making a change for the better in many people's lives, due in no small part, of course, to the extraordinary efforts of the Belfast-based ministry and the team in Ethiopia led by the pastor, Basabi Toloso.
The people are, good. They are open to gospel, and it's because of the work of the Holy Spirit, as well. That's why they grow, and even the commitment of, the church servants as well.
In Matthew chapter 16, Jesus promised to build his church and added that the gates of hell would not prevail against it. The Apostle Paul also asked in the book of Romans, "Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation, or distress, or persecution, or famine, or nakedness, or danger, or sword?" Then Paul adds, "No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us." Meanwhile, at Babagaya, over 60 children are now enrolled in the new school, where a daycare has opened for toddlers. It will enable parents of the children to seek work during the day. And in a touching moment, workers, staff, children and guards sang a song of remembrance in honour of the late Jim McClelland.
It's lovely to know that, Jim obeyed God. Like, one of the things that I noticed most when we first went, some of the wee children had never been to school, and they were just standing there in their wee bare feet, no shoes, their clothes were terrible, and they had no confidence. And then you see them now, they're in the choir, they're in our church choir, their wee lives have just changed. It's lovely.
Another special moment of the trip to Ethiopia was when Pastor Frankie Weir taught the youth choir at Carif 2 a new song, Just One Touch from the King, which is appropriate really, as many lives and hearts in Ethiopia are today touched by the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, Jesus Christ. As the battle continues to rage over the land of Ethiopia and a deep damage remains in the people, the hope now being provided by the Tabernacle Project means the famine can finally get consigned to history. A bright, new and prosperous world are opening up for the next generation, many of whom weren't even born when this ministry began 14 years ago. Notwithstanding, God was preparing a place for them. Countless students will go on to serve God and their nation in the days to come. They are living proof of the words of Jeremiah. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet to the nations.
Some of the very small kids, 11, 12, 13 years back, now they are in universities. They are becoming, hopes for themselves and for hopes for their families.